At 78, is the Terminator still in the fight? That's the question buzzing in my head and maybe in yours too. I'm Sarah Reed, and I grew up watching this man flex, fight, and grin his way into movie history. Born in 1947 in Thal, Austria, he became a 7-time Mr. Olympia. Then he turned into Hollywood's most unlikely giant. But now, at 78, what happened to Arnold Schwarzenegger? Is the so-called Austrian Oak still unbreakable? Or is he living a quieter battle most of us never saw coming? I've spent days in old bodybuilding archives, old interviews, and medical reports. I wanted the real picture, not gossip. Here's what I found. His life is a ladder of reinvention. Bodybuilding titles, Conan's sword, the Terminator's red eye, a governor's podium, and finally, hospital rooms and rehab halls where grit mattered more than muscles. Have you been a fan since Pumping Iron, or did you meet him through the Terminator? I want to hear your story. Tap like if those memories are flooding back. We're going to walk through the wins, the scars, and the truth about his heart. The legend lives, but what exactly is he up against now? Let's find out. How does a small-town kid turn into a world champion by 20? Arnold's answer was simple: work like a machine. He grew up in Thal, Austria, and picked up weights as a teen. By 15, he was lifting with a plan. At 20, he won Mr. Universe. Then he climbed higher. From 1970 to 1975, and again in 1980, he won 7 Mr. Olympia titles. That run gave him a new name, the Austrian Oak. I remember the first time I watched Pumping Iron. Even then, his goal felt so clear. Not just big muscles, a big life. He studied posing like it was ballet. He studied English like it was a second workout. He treated each rep like a promise to his future. The sport still honors him with the Arnold Sports Festival, one of the biggest bodybuilding events in the world. That legacy speaks to the discipline he built early. I dug through old competition records and grainy photos to piece together that climb. What I see is someone who loved the grind. And once he had the crown, he didn't stop. He looked past the stage lights. He looked toward a different kind of spotlight. Next up, Hollywood called. Could a bodybuilder with a thick accent really rule the box office? Arnold did it. After Pumping Iron hit in 1977, the world finally saw his charm. Then came Conan the Barbarian in 1982. He wasn't just big, he was magnetic. 2 years later, the Terminator arrived and he dropped the line that still echoes today: "I'll be back." It was short, cold, and perfect. From there, it was a run of hits: Predator, Total Recall, True Lies, and more. By now, films he starred in have grossed over $5 billion worldwide. Let that sink in. A kid from a tiny Austrian village became a global ticket-selling force. In interviews, he often joked that each movie needed an Arnold moment, a flex, a one-liner, a grin. But look deeper, and it's reinvention in motion. He taught himself timing, comedy, and presence. He turned a supposed weakness, his accent, into a brand. I pulled box office records and old reviews for this chapter. The pattern is clear. He kept betting on himself. He kept winning. But fame wasn't his biggest challenge. Off-screen, a more serious test was coming, bigger than any villain on film. What happens when the Terminator goes to Sacramento? In 2003, it wasn't a sequel, it was real life. A recall election shook California. Voters chose Arnold Schwarzenegger with 48.6% of the vote. He was sworn in on November 17, 2003, and won re-election in 2006 with 55.9%. Before that, he'd already been a national fitness advocate, even chairing the President's Council on Physical Fitness in Sports. It fit his lifelong mission: get people moving. I remember the news cycle whiplash. 1 minute, he's on a red carpet. The next, he's on a debate stage. That shift told me something deeper about him. He didn't fear new lanes, he built them. He carried the same discipline from the gym into governance: show up, focus, execute. But there's a part of the story most of us didn't see back then. While he pushed policy and traveled nonstop, his body carried a quiet warning label from birth: a congenital heart valve issue. He kept it low-key, he kept working, but the clock was ticking. Years later, the private battle would become public. the first crack in the armor actually came earlier, long before Sacramento. Let's rewind to 1997. When did the unstoppable hero first slow down? In 1997. That's when Arnold went in for his first heart valve surgery. Doctors replaced a valve tied to a congenital condition called a bicuspid aortic valve. It's something he was born with. 2 leaflets instead of 3. A tiny difference, but over time, a big deal. He didn't make a spectacle of it. He handled it, healed up, and went back to work. That replacement kept him going for more than 20 years. Think about that. 2 decades of filming, travel, and public service with a repaired valve doing its quiet job. I've scanned the reports and the timelines. The pattern is steady. He does the work, he trusts the doctors, he moves forward. But valves have lifespans, just like the rest of us. By 2018, the warning lights were flashing again. Another operation was due. This wasn't about muscles anymore. It was about maintenance, like he joked later. Even Terminators need tune-ups. The next chapter would show his spirit in a whole new light. He walked in for surgery at 70 years old, and somehow he walked out with a punchline that made fans cheer. How do you turn a hospital wake-up into a movie moment? Arnold did it on March 30, 2018. At 70, he went into Cedars-Sinai for a planned pulmonic valve replacement. The medical team even had an open heart crew on standby. They didn't need it. He woke up stable. Then he delivered his classic line with a grin. "I'm back." I love that. It's funny, it's brave, and it's very him. Later, he even joked that this surgery hurt less than breaking his ribs in a 2001 motorcycle crash. Only Arnold compares open heart work to a bike wreck and shrugs. But don't let the bravado fool you. Surgery is surgery. He did the therapy, he did the walking, he listened to the experts. That's discipline in a different uniform. I checked his statements and the hospital notes. It all tracked. For fans like me, it felt like a sigh of relief. The tough guy was still tough. The comeback was on. But a twist was waiting. Within a couple of years, he'd be staring at his own fragility again, this time closer than ever. The next procedure would push him to the edge. What do you say when you think you might die? In 2020, Arnold told the world he'd almost died during a heart procedure 2 years earlier. He had an aortic valve replacement done via catheter. It was supposed to be smooth, even non-invasive. Then things went wrong. He remembers seeing a yellow screen signal, the sign that his heart had stopped. He came back, but for a moment, even the Terminator was on the edge. Here's the wild part. He had hesitated before that surgery because another Terminator film was lining up. Work could wait, health could not. Doctors said, move forward. He did, and he lived to tell us what it felt like. Those words still hit hard. I was about to die. I replayed that confession and matched it to the procedure reports. It's chilling. It's also clarifying. Strength isn't the absence of fear. It's action in the middle of it. Afterward, he recovered again. He trained. He showed up. But the internet had questions and rumors. In 2024, he finally answered them with facts. And he did it with the same blunt honesty he brings to the gym. Did a vaccine cause Arnold's pacemaker? No. In March 2024, he cleared that up himself. He said his pacemaker was tied to a genetic heart issue he's had since birth, a bicuspid aortic valve. That's the same root cause behind his surgeries in 1997, 2018, and 2020. Fact checkers backed him up. He even said he's alive because of modern medicine and diligent care. I reviewed the claims, the fact checks, and his own words. The rumor didn't hold, the science did. This matters because accuracy saves lives, it builds trust, and honestly, it honors what Arnold has always preached. Do the work, listen to experts, and cut the noise. If you're into careful, fully sourced deep dives like this, hit subscribe now and join me for the next story. It helps this kind of work live on. So, where does that leave us today? With the myth out of the way, we can focus on the real question. How is Arnold actually living at 78? What does a day look like now for a man who has been a champion, a movie star, a governor, and a survivor? What does his morning look like now? It starts simple. He moves, he lifts, he walks, he shares quick workout clips and reminds older fans to go gentle but go often. No ego, just routine. He talks about eating with purpose and keeping it steady, not extreme. He even launched efforts aimed at seniors, urging people over 65 to stay active with smart exercises and solid food. I've watched those videos with his animals wandering in and out of frame, and it feels human. It feels doable. He also wrote a book, Be Useful: 7 Tools for Life, to push a message I love: discipline, gratitude, purpose. That's what he's practicing now. He still supports the Arnold Sports Festival, he still shows up for environmental work, and he still connects with fans like a coach who never lost the spark. Quick note, I'm not your doctor, and neither is Arnold. Always check with a professional before starting any plan. His routine is his. The lesson is the mindset. So what fuels a life like this long after the spotlight fades? A simple mantra. It's one he repeats to himself and now to us. Be useful. What keeps him hungry at this age? A few words he lives by. Be useful. Don't just exist, move ahead. He says the older you get, the more discipline you need. And he keeps proving it. He trains, he volunteers, he sets goals. He even jokes that his plan is to live forever. What he means is legacy. Leave the world better than you found it. One of my favorite lines he repeats is this: the meaning of life is not simply to exist, but to move ahead, to achieve, to conquer. Classic Arnold. But the deeper point is not about dominance, it's about progress. Do one more rep, read one more page, help one more person. That's the engine behind his late life strength. I pulled that message from his book, his speeches, and his interviews. It's the through line from Thal to today. From flexing on stage to shaking hands as governor to walking hospital halls, he kept the same mental script: show up, do the work, smile. So, after everything, what happened to Arnold at 78? The answer sits in that mantra. He got older, he got wiser, and he stayed useful. Here's the bigger truth I see. Arnold's story isn't just muscles and one-liners, it's resilience, it's reinvention, it's purpose. He went from 7 Mr. Olympia wins to global movie fame. Films he starred in have made over $5 billion. Then he stepped into politics and served as California's governor. That arc alone would fill a lifetime. But his most human chapter came in hospital rooms, where courage had nothing to do with biceps. I've watched the clips 100 times. Young Arnold posing like a statue, Conan swinging a sword, the Terminator saying, "I'll be back." Then older Arnold with a scar and a smile, taking slow steps down a hallway. That's the image that sticks. Not invincible, not perfect, just determined. He calls it being a champion of life. I know what he means. So what do we take from all this? Strength is not the absence of struggle. It's the choice to keep going. That's his legacy to me. And it brings us to now. How is he doing today at 78 with the pacemaker, the surgeries, and that never quit grin? Let's end with the real update. So what happened to Arnold at 78? He adapted. He has a pacemaker now to steady his heart rhythm. He follows what his doctors say. He keeps to a routine that fits his age and his goals. Think more walks, more form, more consistency. Less heavy ego lifting, more smart reps. He posts mornings in the gym, encourages fans, and treats health like a daily practice, not a stunt. He is still hands-on with the Arnold Sports Festival. He still backs environmental causes and civic projects. He still writes and speaks about purpose. I see a man who knows he isn't bulletproof, but refuses to be helpless. He says growing older just makes discipline more important. Watching him now, that line makes sense. This is the real update. He's here, he's present, he's grateful. He turns near-death stories into fuel, not fear. And he uses his platform to nudge people, especially older folks, towards movement and meaning. That's not a movie hero, that's a human hero. The journey isn't over. He's not done building things or mentoring people. He's still finding new ways to be useful. That's what happened to Arnold at 78. He kept going. I started this story with a mystery. Is the Terminator still in the fight at 78? Now you and I know the truth. He's older, he's scarred, he's steady, and he's still moving one smart step at a time. From Mr. Olympia to movie icon to governor to survivor, his message lands the same. Be useful, stay grateful, keep going. I'm Sarah Reed, and this is the kind of story I love sharing here on Golden American Legends. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more legends reframed with care and receipts, please subscribe. It truly helps. Hit like and share this with someone who needs a little fire today. Thank you for watching and spending time with me. I appreciate your curiosity and your heart. What part of Arnold's journey hits you the most? The rise from Austria, the box office era, the governor years, or the fight to come back from surgery? I want to hear why. We'll be back with more stories that make history feel alive. Until then, take one small step today. Be useful, and stay tuned for our next chapter, right here on Golden American Legends.